Good evening. Good evening, everyone. I've been sitting here fighting with my internet again. I'm going to need some folks to make sure that when you get on that you give me a thumbs up. A good audio, good video. What's up, B? What's going on? Let's see. Let's see. Okay. What's happening, my brother? How's it going, Brandon? Everything good? Let me see if I can get some folks right quick. Yeah, sitting here wearing my do you believe in messages? I have internet trouble, and I don't understand that. Other than scripturally, we battle not against flesh and blood, but against principalities and powers and spiritual wickedness in high places. So right now, it looks like I only got a couple of people on. So, alrighty. Hope you all have been having a great day. I've been busy today. What can I say? It's a lot going on. Sid, how you doing? Good to see you. Yeah, okay. All right, Sister Soldier in the house. Kevin, what's going on? All righty, brother. Good to see you. We're going to be talking about your neck of the woods tonight. That's for sure. Charleston County School Board and Charleston County Legislative Delegation and, some other things, Charleston County. I'll be glad when I can just hold a Facebook Live or a rally and just talk about everything great that's going on for the people. I'm waiting on that day. Man, I don't need to write out no program for it or no script. I could just flow with that day. Miss Cooper, what's going on? How you doing? All righty. Yeah, I could just flow with that script. The day when we don't have issues with educating our children, or people getting paid, or folks having health care, or gentrification, or flooding, or our environment. If we, man, that day, what a day of rejoicing that'll be. Yeah, I guess that's what heaven's all about. Yeah. Sister Soldier, what's going on? I see you've been back and forth in here, huh? That's all right. That's all right. We need to link up. So, do I have a decent audio, decent video? Somebody give me a thumbs up, because I know I've been having internet trouble. Somebody give me a thumbs up. Let me know something. Okay. All right. Let's see. All right. Try some new things here. Thanks, B. I appreciate that. I had to back it up. Well, it looks like we might not have the biggest crowd tonight, but that's all right. Tonight, I just want to jump into this sauce here. We just want to jump on in and get this thing moving. Appreciate that. Good to know. Okay. Yeah. All right, Sean. Show you right. William, what's going on? Yes, sir. Millicent, what's happening? Yeah. Start up. Ready to go. That's that's my personal preference on this whole thing. So, and that's the only time you're going to hear me say anything like that. All right. But tonight, okay, there's been a lot of controversy going on about the prospect of single member districts coming Charleston County School District. Okay. Single member districts, this is something that we as community representatives, people who fight for the voice of the people to be heard by whatever entity, not only in school boards, but in city councils, mayor's offices, in our legislative general assembly, we fight to have the voice of the people heard, because we are a nation that is of the people, by the people, and for the people, not those that are in office, okay? Those that are in office are elected to represent us. In essence, they actually work for us, because we do office, even when the pay or these the pay is meager, is minor, and Charleston County School Board definitely doesn't receive much money for what they do. Okay, at least on the legitimate side. I don't know about the other side. It's this thing called dark money. I'm not even going to get into that, but the elected officials, really, in essence, no matter what level of elected officials, they work for the people. They are employed by the people. The people are the employer, while the elected officials are the employees. And because of that fact, because they work for us, our voice should be the most paramount issue that they're concerned with. That should always be at the forefront of a different concept. Agree that for years we've been fighting in order to have the voice of the people heard. This is not anything new. Fighting for the voice of the people to be heard. And one of the problems of that systemic nature that has suppressed the voice of the people is this system that we're under when it comes to electing school board members. Okay, Charleston County School Board members. We have a process where, although we have all these different districts, the people throughout the county vote for all of the different members, and all of the different members might not represent them in their particular district. In other words, our representative from Mount Pleasant, instead of the votes of people that are in Mount Pleasant in that district being the votes that are cast for that person, votes from in the entire county go toward that person. So in the 2018 midterm elections, the candidate that ran in that district actually would have won had we had single member districts, and not the candidate that's now currently seated on the board. How did that person that's seated on the board get in? Because people throughout the county was vote for that person. People who are not affected by that person's decisions were able to vote for that person, not the people within that particular district, that single member district. So the concept of single member districting is all about the person that lives in a particular district running to represent the people of that district, and the people of that district, the employers of that person, being those direct people who are going to hire that person to represent them. Not people all across the county, but that particular district. Okay? And what does that do? In effect, that gives the people of the community of that district one person who they have to deal with and have accountability to, who they know the community and has got to represent their best interests. That person has been elected by them to represent them, must be accountable to them as the employee, as their employee, and them as the employer. So that's the benefit of single member districts. And we had several districts in 2018 where the winner of the election actually won because of votes that were outside of their district, several of them. And they are definitely some of the people who some of us hardworking activists out here believe were put into a position by a slew of money that was pumped into that campaign. Positions that were bought, not positions that they actually worked for and earned and deserved. I said it, this Pastor Dixon, holler at your boy if you got a problem with that. It's all right. So, the legislative delegation, right, who has the legal authority to move forward with the single district member districts, has decided to do so. And they decided to do so in the aftermath of the situation. Remember, I started talking about how the voice of the people has not been heard. The seated board members for a long time, especially those that have been there a long time, have given up on listening to the voice of the people. Okay. And the legislative delegation, actually, due to some actions that the board was going to put through, had asked them at one point to just stop for a minute and because we want to talk with you all. Okay. Now, there are those who are going to talk about the reasons behind it and everything. I'm not getting into all of that. I just want you to understand the mechanisms behind this. The Charleston County Legislative Delegation said, pump your brakes. Hold on just a minute, okay? We've been hearing from the people, okay? We're listening to the people, and whoever the people might be. I'm not getting into all that foolishness, okay? So don't start. But we're listening. The delegation said we're listening to the people, and the people say they're having a problem with this. So can we meet with you before any votes, and let's talk about this thing? They said, yeah, we can meet. The board said, Charleston County School Board, we'll meet with you, but we can't meet right away. We can meet with you in 3 weeks, okay? And the things that, and the delegation said, all right. The things that they were trying to push through, instead of holding off until this conversation with the delegation, they went right ahead on and passed it. Basically, as we say in the street, dissing the Charleston County Legislative Delegation. Treated them like their voice didn't matter. Treated them the same way they've treated us for years. Okay? So what? You the legislative delegation. We don't care. We're gonna do what we want to do. We'll see y'all after we pass this through. After we run this song through. That's when we'll get to you, when we get ready to get to you. In other words. And that didn't sit well with the delegation. And it proved to the delegation the allegations that the community, that the people of the community have been saying for years, that this board just doesn't give a darn about the voice of the people. And they're going to do exactly what they want to do when they want to do it without being checked. So the legislative delegation decided, okay, we've been disrespected too. We're going to fix that. We're going to put the voice of the people into this body that they actually are supposed to be the ones who are running. We're going to set up single member districts. And I guess they consulted the attorneys, the legal people and everything. The legal folks say, yeah, you can do that. You can definitely do that. So now we see Representative Leon Stavronakis pushing through with a bill that is calling for single member districts. And our current board has a problem with it. Okay, there are certain board members, let me just put it that way. Certain board members have a problem with it, okay? What are the things that they have a problem with? The problems that they have is that if this bill is passed, and right now it's been through its first reading, it passed its first reading and its second reading in the State House unanimously, okay? The third reading is tomorrow. The third and final reading in the House is tomorrow, and it'll go over to the Senate next week, okay? We're to pass also, okay? Unanimous so far in the House. Bipartisan bill. This is not just Democrats, okay? This is Dems and Republicans together who felt disrespected by this group called the Charleston County School Board because they wouldn't listen to them in the same way they have not listened to the voice of the people. Well, maybe that was the straw that broke the camel's back, because now this bill is on the table, one vote away from passing in the House, and then it goes over to the Senate next week, okay? And hopefully it'll be passed there. One of the things that'll happen as a result of that is that, good evening, Lee, is that even though there were those who just recently were elected to their seats and their job, their election wouldn't be up for a while, all 9 of the Charleston County School Board members will be up for re-election this November. See, that's one of the conditions of this thing, that that there will be another election this year in order to put the single member districts online, okay? Now, Personally, I don't see any problem with that. But apparently, the school board members, certain school board members in particular, I just know one school board member that who doesn't have a problem with it, and that's Kevin Hollinshead, and he's on here tonight. And the rest of the school board members have a problem with that, going up for election again, and they're using that. They're saying that the reason why the legislative delegation decided to go with the single is to wipe out the board as it's seated. And then there are those that are going the next step. Board members and community members are saying that they're doing it in order to stop the programs that this board is doing. Well, if that's a side symptom of this problem, it's not the major symptom. It's not the cause. The cause of this is that this board has not listened to the voice of the people, has refused to listen to the voice of the people, refused to listen to the voice of the legislative delegation, and now there's consequences and repercussions for their actions. In a place where they thought that they were going to get away with murder, because when you undereducate children, that's murder. They thought that they were going to be able to continue just on their merry way doing anything and everything they want to, but they don't to the right ones now. And I started out by saying, us in the activist community have been fighting for quality public education for a long time, have been asked member districts for a long time. Actually on a district platform in DD2, Dorchester District 2, maybe 7 or 8 years ago, but never got any momentum, any strength. It's unfortunate to have this type of a situation arise before we got to this point in Charleston County. But in order for the people's voice to be heard, it's time to move towards single member districts. Okay? But the seated board, they don't like it. They don't. And I'm talking about who are part of this movement, who got their seats because we don't have a single member district voting block, but because $350,000 was pumped into their campaign. Yeah, I said that too. Holler at your boy if you got a problem with that. But the conversation that they keep giving about, well, they're the board, they just move us out, and then they're going to not do what we're doing. They're just trying to stop us in doing what we're doing. No, what they're trying to do is to stop you from not listening to the voice of the people. That's the bottom line. Representative Leon Stavronakis, okay, he's the one who filed this bipartisan bill. And I can say again, bipartisan bill. And that's why it's unanimously, because there are Republicans and Democrats that's working together to make this happen. They understand the necessity of the voice of the people in Charleston County being heard, and heard loudly, and not only heard loudly, but respected. Because this board is not respecting that, okay, right now. So he said it plainly. It's a measure, but people like Kate Darby, okay, who is the school district vice chair, the school board. Kate Darby believes that it is. She made this statement. She said, if it's not punitive, then what is the compelling reason that we need to change to single member districts? I don't know if y'all been listening to my conversation since I started this live. The answer to that is really simple. She said, what is the compelling reason why we need to change to single member districts? Because you, Ms. Darby, refuse to listen to the voice of the people. Ignore the compelling behind the move towards single member districts. The real problem has nothing to do with what Kate Darby alleges, just as Leon Stavronakis remarked yesterday when asked. And his reply is the same reply that we have been fighting with this board about for years. Yesterday at the lobby day when he was asked by teacher lobby day when he was asked by the media, well, why the single member district? Representative Stavronakis said, he said, we got engaged and just said, well, we got the power that since you want to ignore us too, we can change that. We can fix that. Okay? The good Reverend Chris Collins, he said, I think it would create a lot of chaos. I don't think it's the best solution to go single member districts. And that was a quote. I think it would create a lot of chaos. How? How so? By giving the people a voice that they haven't had. Unless you, maybe like Kate Darby too, maybe you're afraid that if there's another election that comes and you have to run again, that you might just lose that seat. Yeah, Chris, ain't no love lost. It's just real talk, for sure. What kind of chaos is it? Chaos because the people have their voice now? Or chaos because you feel like your seat on the school board might be in jeopardy? And I'm going to touch on that in a minute. Todd Garrett, another one of our school board members, Todd Garrett, who's been there a little while, okay, he calls the bill punitive. The constituents told them they were unhappy. Period. And had Todd Garrett listened to the people and respected what the people said, he'd never make a statement like that. This is one of the worst cases of cognitive dissonance I've ever seen in my life. How you going to put the onus of this on some? No, Todd, you did this. You did this. And the irony of it is because it's Todd Garrett, it's Kate Darby, it's Eric Mack, it's Cindy Bond Coates, it's Joyce Green, it's it's just that clique. Chris Fraser, the new guy, that's the old guy, And the sad part about it is, I'm not sure about Ms. Green, and I had a live not long ago talking about Republican values versus Democratic. Well, most of those I just named are definitely Republicans, okay? And that's why it looks like they have that ability, I don't know, that ability to ignore the voice of people. I'll tell you, you say you can't. I hope everybody else can hear something. I don't know. Um, I don't know. Uh, I'm going to let it roll, though. I'm going to let it roll because I can't stop it right now, okay? Okay. Again, though, with Todd Garrett, just as with Darby, the real problem has nothing to do with what Garrett alleges. It's punitive. They want to get back at us and they want to clear the board. It has nothing to do with that. Again, just as Representative Starvin-Knockers remarked when asked, we got engaged, and I quote, we got engaged in this process by parents and teachers, the people, who felt like the board was not being responsive, was not listening to their concerns. And again, they weren't listening, and they haven't listened for years. And the Charleston County Legislative Delegation found that out firsthand when the board refused to listen to them. So this bill is not punitive. Excellent. Thank you, Taisha. This bill is not punitive if you haven't done anything to be punished for. Okay? If you haven't done anything to be punished for, this bill is not punitive. You know, I watched one of the media channels as they gave the coverage yesterday. Yesterday was Lobby Day for Teachers, SC for Ed, at the State House. Loads of teachers there at the State House who were there to talk to our legislators about education, about teachers and things of that sort, okay? Trying to move the needle in favor of our teachers and a quality education from the educator standpoint. But of course, with the media, you know, they went from talking to one of the participants that day to talking with one of the Charleston County School District or School Board members, Priscilla Jeffrey. Okay, now I'm really messed up about this part of it. Okay, and I've known a long time, and no, there's no love lost. I still love you, Priscilla. But man, in the interview with Sandy Sin and with Allison standing right there, Allison being the teacher, you being, yes, an educator, but Allison is the teacher who was talking to her state representative about an issue, okay? And you just bogarted your way into that conversation to talk about single member districts and this bill. Overrode Allison looked real uneasy in the middle of that conversation. While she was trying to talk to the senator about teacher issues, which is what Lobby Day was for. As an educator, Priscilla, seems like your focus would have been standing up for the teachers that were there for Lobby Day, not focusing on your board and your position. Come on, somebody. I don't understand that. And why were you, a Charleston District Board member, at the State House bogarting this conversation with Senator Sin and defending the board when this was Lobby Day for the teachers? Why'd you do that? You just felt that privileged that you could go and interrupt the teachers on their day, that one day out of the darn year that they go up there, and you go up there to talk about, man, well, this whole thing about the bill and the single member districts and all that. Disrespect. And again, I follow up by saying, Priscilla, I love you. And I always have. But wrong is wrong. And you shouldn't have done that. If anything, you should have been standing there supporting Allison as she was talking to Senator Sin about moving forward, educating our children. Not there talking about this single member district thing. Okay? So now, here's the bottom line, okay? Here's the bottom line. And there are those who are saying that, we don't want single member districts or whatever, but it's about accountability and transparency. For those on the board member who are fighting against these excuses, because that's all they are, excuses, they just want to clear the board, it's because of what we've been doing. blah, blah, blah. That's all excuses, okay? Here's the bottom line, okay? If you've been doing what you were elected to do, which means listening to your constituents instead of ignoring them, then you should have nothing to worry about in an election this year. Nothing whatsoever. If you've been working for the people will acknowledge that by voting for you. You shouldn't be afraid of another election this year because the people will be glad to re-elect you. If you've been attentive to the needs of the community. If you haven't, well, that's a whole nother thing, okay? If you've been listening to the people and respecting the people will re-elect you in November. And if you haven't, they won't. It's just that simple. If the election results are not favorable for you, it's no one's fault but your own. Not the Charleston County Legislative Delegation, not changing the single member districts, not the teachers or the activists who've been in your face inside of 75 Calhoun consistently trying to be heard for years. Nope. No. If you've done right by the people are going to do right by you, and you will remain in office. Okay. But in the back of my mind, I kind of those who have all of these issues on the board that have all of these issues about single member districts and are doing all this jaw jabbing and everything about this, that, and the other about it. I think you're a little afraid of losing your position, that power, because you haven't been doing the will of the people, or listening to the will of the people, or respecting the will of the people. You've been ignoring the will of the people. So and that's just my personal opinion. I don't know. I could be wrong. As far as the reason behind it, But I know there are those who are fighting, tooth and nail. That's right. Vote them out. That's my opinion. Those have been fighting against this since they started. They tried to say it's illegal. No, it's legal. They can do it. So it's all up to what happens in the General Assembly. If the House clears it and the Senate clears it, get ready for an election this November for school board members. All 9 seats elected by the people in their particular districts. Districts that some of those that are seated on this board now, in spite of the money, would have lost in the last election. Yeah. Truth in voting, for sure. But I say it again. Stop putting the blame on other people. You brought this on yourself. There are consequences and repercussions for your actions. Okay? You don't walk on no water. For sure. You were elected to serve the people. You were elected as a public servant. Not some autonomous entity that does whatever they want to do. Nope. That's for sure. And if you followed the superintendent down the rabbit hole and the ground closed up on you, that's your business. That's your problem, because you created this mess. And now the voice of the people will have an opportunity to be heard if it all passes. So now, lastly, on this particular issue, okay, for those who say that single member districts and a new election this year where all of the board members would have to run again, stop the programs that are currently in place, that are on the table or whatever, that's crystal ball stuff, okay? It very well could be, but then it very well couldn't be. if, let's just say, if this whole board was removed and replaced with another board, and they look at these different things, maybe they'll find a different way to approach it and still come out with the same outcome. So don't try to talk about this some kind of fact. This ain't no facts. That's speculation. The data will support different things, but the outcome of the implementation is only speculation. You don't know what's going to happen. Whether a new board will embrace some of the ideas, toss all of the ideas out and start anew, or even embrace all of them. We don't know. One thing we do know with single member districts, though, is whoever gets elected, they get out of line, the people's voice is going to be heard. They're going to be listening. Because it's my job and the job of organizing now to make sure a loud voice and that we have these issues, that it's not just white folks show up at the school district, that it be of the people, by the people, and for the people, all of the people showing up in order to make sure the voice of the people is heard. Okay? That's the bottom line. Maybe merging the schools is something that an entirely different board would consider. I'm not going to speculate on it. But I'm definitely not going to say, especially since I keep hearing from the legislative delegation, which is a very valid point that they're making, that the parents and the teachers contacted them because the board was not responsive to their wishes. Something that we've been talking about for years. Okay? For years. And now we got it, and folks want to fight against it. Or possibility of having it, and folks want to fight against it. I don't know. We shall see. That's the real on the single member districts. Okay. And right now, I personally only know one person on the school board who is pushing for single member districts and is supportive of the fact that if the bill passes, let's have the election, and is not talking against it. And that's Kevin Hollenshed. And he's on this live, okay? So there are those who want to talk about him and he's this and he's that, and I'm not one to talk to folks in that manner, you know. I'm just happy that, you know, he's embracing this, where the other ones have a chance to embrace it too. And if they're fighting against it, you know, the question is always why. Why are you fighting against a system that was designed to be representative of the voice of the people, when the people are telling you we want something different? Why are you fighting against that? I don't understand it, okay? And so I'll look forward to the rebuttals coming out. It's all good. And I did say I want to just touch base briefly on good old boys. Man, this 2020, and we still got to deal with the same craziness we've been dealing with, the nepotism and everything. For those who don't know, you know, Elliot Summey was appointed the other day to as CEO of the airport, Charleston International. Okay. Although he's Charleston County chair, he's going to step down from that position, or Charleston County Council. He's going to step down from that position in order to take over the position at the airport. $290,000 a year. There's no aviation experience whatsoever. And that board in the selection process, they had actually 82 other applicants. I think it was whittled down to 9 of them or something like that. And they just overlooked all of those people in order to give Elliot Summey this position. Perpetuating a system that has been the downfall of the South for a long time, called the good old boy system. It's the same system that perpetuated Jim Crow. It's the same system that keeps us with slave labor right now out here. It's the same system that puts down unions in South Carolina and refuses to give our kids quality public education by building up community schools. It's the same system, the good old boy system that says that people that are entitled feel like they're entitled when it comes to quality health care. It's not an entitlement, that's a right. It's crazy as heck. And here they turn around and they give Elliot Summey a job as the CEO of the airport, making $300,000 a year. It's so crucial when it comes to that appointment, and something that has to be taken into consideration. Why is it that the mayors of both Charleston and Mount Pleasant, why did they both vote no to that? As I've watched them try to move toward a more equitable environment for all of the people within their cities. Why did they vote no? And everybody else voted. Oh, everybody didn't vote. Yes, that's right. Other than them, that's right. It was one board member that actually resigned because he said he wasn't going to have none of that foolishness. And you know his reason? The reason why he resigned and wasn't going to go along with it, because of the way that they did this. He said it was rushed and done in secret. Being rushed and in secret. Words before. Isn't that what happened in this with the school board that got us to the single member district? The past that the school slow down, don't rush this process of implementing the things that we're going to do. And why you always got to go in executive session and have all of these backdoor meetings, the secret meetings that we never get access to? The exact same thing. That's why I'm saying this good old boy system is ingrained. We have to change that, people. We are the change agents that can make that happen. You and I. But we have to do it not like this, okay? Not scattered. Me, you, somebody else, somebody else, somebody else. We have to do it this way. We have to unite and fight for the people. Fight the power. As was said by Public Enemy a long time ago. That's the only way that we're going to overcome. That's the only way. Because these people have these systems in place that are designed in order to keep us underfoot. Why is it that we've even over the years had to argue with Charleston County School Board about having our voice heard? Public comments being dropped from 3 minutes down to 2 minutes, and then at one point they tried to make public. We have to reverse that, and the only way we're going to do it is if we start fighting this fight together. We start working together. We're not going to agree on everything. Let me just make sure that perfectly clear. We are not going to agree on everything. But the things that we do agree on, we need to stand together and fight. And those that are in the gun violence prevention community need to stand with our educators in the fight for quality public education and better teacher pay, smaller classroom sizes, early education, and the whole nine. We need to stand together. Those that are in the fight for 15 need to be there for the gun violence prevention people and also for our educators. Those who are fighting for quality health care, affordable health care, universal health care, need to be there for the other social justice issues. Those who are fighting to end gentrification need to be there for the others. Can you imagine how if each one of these fingers represented one of our social justice issues? Each one represents one issue. And each finger represents 1,000 people. Whereas if we got a problem with the school board, 1,000 people will show up. We got a problem trying to move gun violence legislation, 1,000 people will show up. We have a problem trying to make sure everybody has health care that they can afford with 1,000 people. We have another 1,000 for dealing with gentrification and flooding and environmental issues. And we have another thousand that are ready to stand at the ready to make sure that we can collectively bargain and have a decent wage in 1,000 each for each different issue. But if we all come together 5,000 strong for each one of those issues, folks, there's not a force, there's not a devil in hell that can stop us from accomplishing what we need to accomplish. That's how we win. That's exactly how we win. That same analogy has got to apply at the polls. These people that I'm talking about tonight, they're voted in. And they need to, they can be voted out. If we quit acting individually, and if our little this issue or whatever our little thing is not the topic of the day, we go back and go to Facebook and play video games. No, we need to be banding together, fighting together, and standing together. Okay? All right. That's crazy. They just gave that thing to Elliot Summey. Just gave it to him. That's just crazy. So, in closing, with the passing of Mother Judy Scott, I just want everybody to please keep that family in your prayers. Please, please. They have, of course, other families have endured massive amount of grief, but they were thrust into a situation because of racial bigotry, over-aggressive policing, and unfortunately in an agency that had not put the brakes on that type of behavior. And unfortunately, that same agency refuses to do a racial bias audit to this day. While the city of Charleston, that's why I say, I applaud the city of Charleston and the mayor of Mount Pleasant. Mount Pleasant, the council, they're looking over and looking into passing legislation that's going to hold gun owners responsible for keeping their guns locked up. Man, that's huge. That's huge, But in North Charleston, it's business as usual. Business as usual. So that's why I wear the shirt today. Do you believe us now? After Walter Scott, things went back to business as normal. So they don't believe us. After the school board all of these years, now with the single member districts, maybe, just maybe, if the bill passes and the election comes in November, just maybe, I can once again put on the shirt and say, do you believe us now? To the school board that has ignored us over and done exactly what they want. And now it's caught up with them. So listen, I thank everybody who got on tonight. I think my connection was not really good, but I really appreciate everybody for stopping in and listening in. I'm going to get back on in a few days. I got some more things to actually talk about. Just for those who want to know, the funeral services for Mrs. Scott will be on Saturday at noon. They'll be at Word Christian Center out in Somerville, which is just off of Trolley Road, near Dorchester Road. Okay, I'll put the information on my Facebook page. Okay, it starts at noon, and if anybody would like to send flowers or a card or something like that, if you inbox me, I'll give you an address in order to send the flowers to or cards to. Okay, we need to continue to show up and show out for this family. Especially on behalf of the matriarch of that household, Mrs. Judy Scott. She just showed another level of grace, humility to the world that the world had not seen or couldn't understand. 2 months before Mother Emanuel, Miss Judy was something else. And she impressed me and inspired me. And she's one of the reasons why I stay on the battlefield now. Because she made the one statement that I hold dear in my heart. She said, it's not over until God says it's over. So we fight until God says it's over. Listen, y'all take care. I love all of y'all. Share this out. I hope that the live came through. Share this out to other people so they get a chance to listen in. Tag people or something like that. Just let folks know. It's to not fall for the banana in the tailpipe anymore. We've got too full to be set back. We're not taking any back seats.